Hello, and welcome to Your Government in Action. I'm your host, Joy Burns-Roger. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, was the keynote speaker at the National Hurricane Dorian Memorial Service at Friendship Tabernacle Church in Marsh Harbor, Abaco on September 1st, 2022. The service was held in observance of the third anniversary of Hurricane Dorian's landfall, which occurred September 1st, 2019. The nation's leader said he understood that not knowing makes it so much harder to move on, harder to rebuild homes, businesses, and daily lives. The Prime Minister told Abaconians that since coming into office last year, his government has done its best to ensure the nation's response to Hurricane Dorian is driven by compassion. During the past year, he said, his administration has made strenuous effort to give an account for each person, to say what happened to each individual, but the task has been made near impossible. He also said that since 2019, the record keeping has been extremely poor. The Prime Minister said, "We do not know for certain the names of those who are in the mass graves. We do not know for certain the fate of those we have not seen since the storm. We do not know for certain how all the donations and pledges have been used. But what we do know is that you deserve better." He noted that the government has also completed the technical phase of the new Abaco hurricane shelter. He said that the government has helped people begin to move out of the domes to cleaner, safer homes. "It has not been easy or perfect, but it's an important step in moving forward," said the Prime Minister. He also added, "Where the domes stand now, there will soon be new housing, which is badly needed." On September 4th, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, addressed the memorial service held in Grand Bahama in remembrance of the victims of Hurricane Dorian at Jubilee Cathedral. The Deputy Prime Minister said the government must not and will not ever forget what Dorian did. He said this month marks 3 years since Dorian came, changing so much about our nation. For many of you, I am sure you remember it as if it was yesterday. These past few days in Abaco and Grand Bahama have been sobering for me and my family. The Deputy Prime Minister said, "We did not live through Dorian directly. We were like so many around the world who watched in horror as the monster storm descended upon our country. We were there in the aftermath, like so many, to witness the carnage, to touch our fellow man who had their very souls tested and watch others snatched away by the storm." Deputy Prime Minister Cooper said they spoke to many survivors and heard many stories of heartbreak, loss, and survival. He also said he doesn't know that the world will ever grasp the extent of what Bahamians went through, and sadly, many will not remember. He also added that while we do not know the names of all who died, we mourn them just the same. While we are tired and weary, he said, we cannot rest until the restoration is complete. Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, made an address to teachers, parents, and students in preparation for the return of face-to-face instruction scheduled for August 29, 2022. Carissa Williamson tells us more.
Minister Hannah Martin presented initiatives that the Ministry of Education seeks to introduce to schools nationwide for improved infrastructure. According to Minister Hannah Martin, there have been 200 repair projects across the nation to enhance the learning environment for students and teachers.
Some of this repair work has been indeed transformative, beyond repair, and more akin to redevelopment. I must say that to witness the extraordinary skill, effort, and commitment of the Bahamian contractors nationwide, all of whom understood that an emerging generation will occupy those many classrooms and campuses, has been heartwarming and an impressive demonstration of the incredible work ethic and pursuit of excellence, which is truly at the core of our national identity. In particular, the students of T.A. Thompson will return to their campus for the first time in a long time. New construction of schools and classroom blocks throughout the country will be initiated without interruption to on-campus learning. In preparation for this academic year, the ministry has, under combined recruitment, a total of more than 300 new teachers, guidance counselors, school psychologists, and teachers' aides with varying specialties, and additional recruitment is underway to meet scarcity subject areas and deficits in some of our schools. These new teachers, and indeed all of the nation's teachers, have been in conclave last week in preparation for the classroom tomorrow, and there is an air of excitement and optimism. Our teachers are the amazing catalysts for the stimulation and realization of our children's potential. But many of our teachers have experienced fatigue and in some instances even burnout, especially since the onset of the pandemic. And this is being seen globally. We wanted to understand the teachers' perspective of what they have been experiencing and their outlook on the profession and on education in general. The ministry conducted a survey nationwide, and its results are now helping to guide our responses and strategies going forward. I am gratified that for the first time in years, teachers' salaries have been increased, allowances and benefits have been increased, and a retention bonus introduced to incentivize long-serving teachers to stay in the profession. Also well underway is the development of a career path for teachers who will have the opportunity to apply for the posts of senior and master teacher so that their talents in the classroom can continue to be utilized while their professional growth is facilitated. I take this opportunity to thank the thousands of teachers in both public and private education for their invaluable contribution to the growth and development of the Bahamas. The safety and security of our campuses have been placed at a premium. And in this regard, the ministry's security staff personnel are undergoing specialized training at the Royal Bahamas Police Force, with the first squad having graduated about 2 weeks ago, and training for the remaining officers to take place shortly. Additionally, several officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force have been assigned by the Commissioner of Police to junior and senior high schools throughout the country. These officers are specially trained, having received international certification as school resource officers, and they will work in collaboration with the principal of the respective schools to assist in securing campuses and in guiding students on an array of vexing social issues by way of a curriculum which these officers will deliver. Our children must be permitted to learn in a healthy and safe environment without fear or risk of suffering serious harm.
In preparation for the upcoming school year, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis was accompanied by the Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, and Minister of Works and Utilities, the Honorable Alfred Sayers, to conduct walkabouts at various schools around New Providence for an assessment of the completed and ongoing construction on the campuses. Although construction is still underway on some campuses to supplementary facilities, according to Minister Alfred Sayers, this ongoing work does not affect the commencement of the new school year.
The school is ready for tomorrow. Where we are now is the capital development for the school. And this will give the school the opportunity to have activities outside. A pavilion is being built, and as you can see, it's well underway. There's also a tuck shop, lunch vendors, as well as bathroom facilities. And this, as you know, this school is a sealed school. This facility will enable the school to have more, the ability to have some classes outside utilizing the pavilion, as well as for recreational lunch activities.
The National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony on August 31st, 2022 to mark the opening of its new location on the corner of Tonique-Darling Highway and Knowles Drive. The Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, and Mistress Anne-Marie Davis, wife of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, were on hand for the event. Todd Isaacs has that story.
In remarks addressing those gathered to celebrate the ribbon-cutting ceremony of the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas' new building, Minister Hannah Martin said it is essential that NACOB is unassailable in its credibility, precise in its execution, efficient in its operations, and responsive to all stakeholders, comprising most ultimately the Bahamian people.
We are all here to mark and pronounce the establishment of the new headquarters of NACOB. NACOB, as we have heard, is the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council of the Bahamas, and it is a body corporate which was created in 2007 when the law took effect by statute, and the statute is called the National Accreditation and Equivalency Council Act. Under that act, NACOB is responsible for conducting and advising on the accreditation and recognition of educational and training institutions, providers, programs and awards, whether foreign or national, and for the promotion of the quality and standard of education and training in the Bahamas. The statute makes it very clear that the role and function of NACOB goes beyond accreditation and assessment, but includes the obligation to promote the advancement in the Bahamas of education, training, learning skills and knowledge, and to promote a quality assurance culture in general in the Bahamas, to provide the public with information on the quality and recognition of programs and institutions in order, and this is in the Act, to protect the public interest, to offer public assurance by enhancing public understanding of career and workforce development providers and the value of education and the credentials offered by these providers. All of this is in the legislation. It is clear that NACOB is more than a technical body of accreditation of educational and training institutions, tasked with the sole function of accrediting and reaccrediting of institutions operating in the Bahamas. It has a larger national function in protecting and promoting public confidence in education and learning, and also, very importantly, in promoting a culture of quality assurance in general in the Bahamas. It is an essential instrument in pursuing, protecting, and promoting the qualitative state of our nation by ensuring the recognition of standards in the training and preparation of our own human resource as a Bahamian people, but also in promoting the critical norms of the necessity for standards and the need for quality assurance. The creation of this agency, therefore, was an important step in our national development and a continuing and progressive necessity as we seek to advance and improve as a people of excellence. The work of NACOB is contingent upon the building of confidence and trust. It is essential, therefore, that this agency is unassailable in its credibility, precise in its execution, efficient in its operations, responsive to all stakeholders comprising most ultimately the Bahamian people, and uncompromising in securing these objectives. This new space, therefore, will tower across our archipelago and the world as a symbol of our commitment to excellence. I wish the staff well as they commence their operations in this new space. Let our nation go forward in strength.
For Your Government in Action, I am Todd Isaacs.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. The Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development, through its Department of Gender and Family Affairs, recently collaborated with the CARICOM Secretariat to host a one-day consultative session with representatives from the government and non-governmental organizations, in addition to civil society, to discuss the draft CARICOM Regional Gender Equality Strategy. Carissa Williamson has this update.
Her Excellency said the draft strategy is a bold call to action to achieve gender equality across the region and provides for 7 areas of focus, namely gender equality and social inclusion, freedom from violence, economic empowerment, good governance, access to health services, inclusive quality education and sustainable natural resource management, and goes outside what has been the in-country norm when discussing gender equality. She said she has every confidence that the region will discover a pathway for real progress within this framework.
This morning, through the consultative endeavor, we raise our voices in chorus with the nations of CARICOM to call for a united commitment to progress on the crucial question of gender equality. For many in our country, the issues surrounding gender equality are discussed in the narrow confines of a particular referendum question or a single legislative proposition. Such discussions often become mirrored in politics and dominated by competing interests, creating barriers and obstacles to meaningful dialogue. The strategy put forward for consultation across the Caribbean community takes a different approach. It provides for 7 areas of focus, namely gender equality and social inclusion, freedom from violence, economic empowerment, good governance, access to health services, inclusive quality education, and sustainable natural resource management. I have every confidence that within this framework, we will discover a pathway for real progress.
Ambassador Miller-Brice said, like many of its regional sister nations, the Bahamas has consistently expressed gender equality as a national objective and has, under successive administrations, resourced departments and ministries of government to enhance the protection and empowerment of Bahamian women and girls.
We are gathered here representing various demographics of Bahamian society and essential sectors of the Bahamian economy to discuss the draft, stepping it up, a strategy to achieve gender equality in the Caribbean community. This bold call for action aligns with international frameworks, including the 1979 Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the Beijing Platform for Action, and the Sustainable Development 2030 Agenda. It also aligns with the CARICOM Gender Equality Policy. Since the end of July, similar consultative forums have been held virtually in Guyana, Suriname, the British Virgin Islands, and Cayman Islands. Today, the Bahamas joins these nations and others that will follow in the profound discussions on how we improve access, opportunities, education, and governance for women and girls nationally, regionally, and globally. I consider today's participation in this progress of discussion and engagement a tremendous honor. As a young woman, I was afforded amazing opportunities for self-improvement and empowerment as a student, as an athlete, and of course, as a former beauty queen. Those opportunities allowed me to forge my own path as an entrepreneur, as an elected official, and as a diplomat. These discussions today will, I hope, bring us closer to the day when every young woman in the Bahamas experiences the same level of empowerment and opportunities because of the progress we make towards fundamental gender equality.
Ambassador Miller-Brice said it is her expectation that the end result of consultations will make a positive difference in the lives of women and girls in the Bahamas and throughout the Caribbean community. For your Government in Action, I'm Carissa Williamson.
Bahamas Information Services, in collaboration with the Bahamas Department of Meteorology and the National Emergency Management Agency, presents Met Talk with Mr. Jeffrey Simmons, Acting Director of the Bahamas Department of Meteorology.
So today we're going to be talking about storm surge. Storm surges are destructive and they are responsible for most damage during a hurricane in the coastal area. So what is a storm surge? Storm surge is actually the rise in sea level above the normal tide level during the passage of a storm. The storm surges are primarily caused by the wind in the storm, in the hurricane, and not necessarily the pressure. What happens is that the circulation of the wind around the center of the hurricane actually begins to stir the water on the ocean while the hurricane is still out in the middle of the ocean. So it's similar to if you have a glass or a cup of water and you begin to stir the water, then you will see a circular motion actually descending into the bottom of the glass or the cup. Similar situation happens as the hurricane passes over the ocean. It actually stirs the water and actually creates this vertical circulation in the ocean. While the storm is still in the ocean, you cannot actually see the storm surge because of the depth of the water. But as the storm then begins to approach land and moves into shallower water, the circulation cannot now extend deep into the waters and actually begin to rise out of the water and move inland. This is when the storm surge becomes extremely dangerous. Storm surges can have heights of up to in excess of 20 feet as a matter of fact, and can be dangerous to residents in the coastal areas. The maximum storm surge you will experience will actually occur in the area where most winds occur as the storm moves and blows wind onshore. Similarly, as that happens, it actually blows water inland. Storm surges are known to travel miles inland depending on the height of the storm, on the height of the surge, and actually the category of hurricanes. Residents in coastal areas are asked to pay close attention as storm surge advisories are issued during the approach of a hurricane. During a major hurricane, it is advisable that residents in the coastal areas evacuate until after the passage of the storm. This series will continue with the effects of climate change on hurricanes.
This has been Met Talk
on 5
with Jeffrey Simmons.
During his official remarks at the opening ceremony of the Cat Island Tourist Office in New Bight, Cat Island on August 26, 2022, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, said that as a native Cat Islander, as the parliamentary representative for the people of Cat Island, and as the leader of the nation, he felt a special sense of pride in the opening of the tourist office on Cat Island. With the establishment of a tourist office here at New Bight, Cat Island asserts its rightful place among the 16 island destinations that the Ministry of Tourism markets to the world. Prime Minister Davis noted that in 2023, the Bahamas will celebrate 50 years as an independent sovereign nation. Leading up to that milestone, he said, there will be the opportunity to reflect on our past accomplishments as well as opportunities we have in front of us. He also added that his administration is determined to achieve a more even distribution of economic development to the Family Island communities of our archipelago. That is all for this week. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next week for another edition of Your Government in Action. I'm your host, Joy Burns-Roger. Good evening.